Make sure to stick around to the end of the video because we're gonna see if this Hacksmith mini saber can cut directly through this apple. Let's check it out. This is the Hacksmith mini saber. Hacksmith just created the world's first lightsaber that you, me, or your grandma could buy. Everybody reviews all these products and how they work, but we're gonna go even deeper than that. I wanna see if Hacksmith Industries can build a bigger business than their channel could ever be. Now, the Force is what gives a Jedi their power, and until this point, it's honestly all just been a fantasy from movies. No one's been able to hold a lightsaber in their hand and feel the power of the Force, or whatever the closest thing to it is. In a galaxy not so far away, Hacksmith Industries just created the world's first lightsaber, so anybody could really turn into a Jedi if they wanted to be. Cutting through doors, slicing objects, and even taking down Darth Vader. No, just me? Okay, well, I'm gonna be ranking every single creator-run business from F tier all the way to S tier, trying to find the most God tier creator product that exists today. And I'm not gonna stop until every single creator product is reviewed to find which ones are busted pyramid schemes and which one is going to sit at the top of that throne at God tier. So Hacksmith, may the Force be with you. It all started back in 2007 with an individual named James Hobson who ended up being the Hacksmith. With a degree in mechanical engineering, James made it his life mission, his life goal to bring these objects to life. And they've made some of the coolest technology in the world, from Thor's hammer to real-life bat boomerangs to Spider-Man webs, and now real-life lightsabers, which is actually where the channel started. And then they made it accessible to every single person. And everyone who makes videos focuses on how many views the creator gets or how many followers they have and how much money's in their bank account. But we're focused on one thing. How good is the business that they built? And this is the mini saber. They created this mini saber, and I have the opportunity now to see what all the hype is behind it and if it's really worth it. I'm gonna rank every single creator business, starting with the Hacksmith business, on the Murph scale, which is how do they market it, how much revenue do they bring in, how much external funding do they bring on from investors, and what's the overall quality of the product? Is it legit? Make sure to stay to the end of the video to see the mini saber's ranking because I've got a bad feeling about this. Nah, I'm just kidding. That's a Star Wars quote. If we go back to all the way in the beginning of the Hacksmith channel, you can see that they've been teasing a lightsaber for their brand for a very long time. So let's start with M. Marketing. It goes all the way back to the beginning of their channel in 2007 when it was their first YouTube video and the first time they showcased the lightsaber. And I think it fits really well into their brand and their channel because they don't do an insane job of oversaturating it into their market and making tons of videos about it. But the videos they do make are extremely entertaining. And this is the realization I came to. The only time that people watch advertisements is during the Super Bowl because they enjoy watching them, because companies take time into making the ads funny. And this is the reason why TV advertisements are failing and YouTube ads and YouTube in general is skyrocketing, because everything should be made to be fun. And these guys realized that and capitalized on it immediately. They actually only made one dedicated video around the Hacksmith mini saber and only one main short about the mini saber, which literally was just the top 5 things you can do with the mini saber, which was pretty entertaining, honestly. And they show a bunch of different ways to use the product creatively and draw attention to them or channel their brand and especially their product. Now there's 3 different criteria under marketing that we got to check the boxes and see that if they're legit or they're lying about what they're doing. And we're going to break it all down right here. Now, does it fit their brand? Personally, I think this is a perfect incorporation of their channel. I said one of the first videos ever was their lightsaber special effects video, so they have been on brand since 2007. For you boomers, that was 17 years ago. And it is kind of crazy that a YouTube channel is the closest thing that we can get to a Luke Skywalker versus Darth Vader fight, which is even more realistic than the movies. They've essentially done one of the longest series in YouTube history, which is taking an idea of a lightsaber from the movies and making it a real life thing. And my personal review of the product, I think it's absolutely incredible. Honestly, I've had it for the last 4 months. It has a nice coated finish. It has a titanium alloy shell. Like, it feels heavy in my hand. And the blade from the actual lightsaber you can get itself is, if you put too much butane in it, you can literally get it to over 3 feet long, which feels like a flame sword or a lightsaber. And I think it's the closest I felt to being a Jedi since battling Darth Vader in Endor at Disney World. But honestly, this is a close second. But we probably shouldn't fill up the lightsaber all the way to see the flame sword because they say specifically not to do that in the instructions. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. It shows that they put a ton of time into this, and there's 3 specific reasons that you always need to make sure to have one of these with you. You know the saying where it's like, don't bring a KNI, you know the rest of it, I can't say it on YouTube, to a GU, you know the rest of it, I can't say it on YouTube fight? Yeah, well now it's don't bring a lightsaber to a BLASTE, you know the rest of the saying fight, because lightsabers are officially real. And number 2, if I don't have a KNIF, you know the rest of it, to be able to cut things, I got this perfect handy dandy tool here to cut cut through anything I want, whatever. Number 3, this is the absolute perfect candle lighter. It's actually the worst, I'm not gonna lie, because it's so big of a blade and it's so hot that as soon as I turn it on, it just completely burns all the wax in the candle, and it burned the wick too. Like, I couldn't even use the candle because this was so hot. So number 3 is out. But for the time that you're trying to light this, you will definitely be the absolute coolest person in any room. On to the next thing. Have other creators promoted this? And this is when we need to get to the bottom too, because this could be the make or break. Now, I'm very, 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 very against when creators try and shill products on other people. Crypto Zoo and pretty much every other thing that he's been a part of. Now, giving it out to people to give their honest review is one thing, but giving it to people and having them say exactly what you want, even if it's not a good product, is a completely different thing. And I don't like that. After scouring the internet for months, searching far and wide, every single crevice of the entire internet, seeing if that's a possibility, couldn't find anything. But it does seem like there's a ton of videos about it from smaller channels, so Hacksmith, you guys passed that test. But there's a ton of other tests, so don't get too comfortable. Now we're on to R of creator Murph scale. Revenue. Which is what I know everybody was thinking. These guys probably did some serious damage in terms of revenue here. They raised over $1 million of pre-orders right before their launch, which means that they sold over 9,000 of these Hacksmith mini sabers before they even launched. That definitely helped to offset their manufacturing costs and make them a ton of money. I'm assuming they had pretty high margins because this is just an injection molded aluminum casing, so they probably had higher margins because they were producing in such a high volume as well. So I'm assuming a profit margin of around $60 per lightsaber, which is like 50 to 55%. And with that profit margin, it means they made around $540,000 the day that they launched. But they have 14.7 million subscribers, which means that they sold to 0.1% of their audience. That means they sold an extra 14,700 lightsabers, and that brought them an additional $1.65 million in revenue to 0.1% of their audience. $1.65 million. Now, off of revenue, how long has the company been in business? And yeah, I'm calling them a company because every single big YouTube channel, and now even the high mid-tier YouTube channels, are run like businesses. You have to compete. They're also doing more than $1 million in sales per year. And if you're doing that, I'm sorry if you don't want to be called it, but you're a business. And these guys are standing on business. And they've technically been a company that's been in operation for 17 years because that's when they started posting on YouTube. I would say technically though, they started this business in 2020 when they were selling the Gen 1 version of these lightsabers. Next criteria of revenue. Does it seem like a pumpy dumpy pyramid scheme? And the fact that I even have to go through this one is absolutely This category falls into the similar category of did they have other creators promote it? Because I think that's where scams and shitty products kind of start. You want to see if the creators trying to make a quick buck off their fan base, and if they're just trying to pretty much make a product, service, whatever it may be, sell it, get a ton of money, and then head for the hills. But like looking at this lightsaber and the history of the channel, I mean, come on. Bro, it's like they made this was their first video was making the lightsabers in 2007. It's an easy yes. These guys were grinding to make this happen, and it was honestly an amazing creation, and they put a lot of time into it. I just can't wait until it's not a mini saber and it's the full thing, so I can spend my entire mortgage on my house getting a massive real life lightsaber. This one could also be a make or break, and that is how much do they sell it for? This thing is not cheap. I honestly feel like I could have just made my own real life lightsaber for the $112 that I spent for this. Probably not, but it's still pretty damn expensive. But then I thought back to our noodle fights as kids, where my brothers and I would be fighting in our driveway until somebody got hit too hard and we had to stop. But we were wearing helmets. I think back to our lightsaber battles in the basement where we would have these lightsabers where you went like this and they would retract out and you would be able to battle until somebody couldn't battle anymore. And then I remember even farther down the line where the lightsabers would open up and then they would have a retractable light that could follow up to it. And you were like, this is it. This is as close as I'm ever gonna get to a Jedi in the entirety of my existence. And then this little guy came along. For $112, it was worth the memories. Now, if you think that's crazy, listen to how much funding they raised in the shortest amount of time I think I've ever heard in my entire life. They raised $1,005,375 from 7,819 people in 1 month. They did a crazy crowdfunding campaign that brought in a ton of pre-orders for the channel. I'm sorry. The business. This just shows the power of the creator economy and the direction of business that we're headed to as a whole. But creator-run businesses are going to be one of the most, if not the most profitable companies in the next 5 to 10 years. Just think about all the free organic exposure you get from posting one video. Like if Mr. Beast posts a video, literally anything, he could sell millions and millions of dollars of it because he's getting 100 million plus views of organic traffic every video. But it's time to get down and dirty here. If you look at these guys' channel, you can probably see on Social Blade that they're making tens of thousands to $100,000 a month just per their channel revenue, even if they're spending tens of thousands of dollars per month on their massive engineering facility. My thought process for this is, since they'd raised so much money from their crowdfunding campaign, they didn't need to bring on any additional capital from institutional investors at all, which means that they didn't have to dilute, and they kept all of the profits, minus probably the engineering costs. And I'm assuming that from their first launch, they made around $1.2 million gross profit making lightsabers. And honestly, I don't see that number stopping anytime soon. It's just gonna continue to go up. So no equity loss, and they're generating over $1 million in gross profit. That's unreal. Hats off. And I would take my hat off if there wasn't such a cool logo on the front and my hair wasn't messed up. But this takes us to the most important part. Is this thing really quality? I just answered my own question in 5 seconds, because this is quality. It's made of heavy aluminum, and if you curl it enough, you could probably get a bigger bicep. They also have a 4 to 6 inch flame that can change colors, which is cool because you can be on the good guys or the bad guys. I don't know if I want to be a Jedi or a Sith, but with this, I mean, you have the option to be both. And it's also refillable with butane, and it better be if I'm paying $112 for it, because I'd be so pissed if it wasn't. And does it work like they advertise it does? I can promise you the mini saber does exactly that. I was not gonna lie, I'm a little bit bummed that when I went to go slice through something, it didn't immediately cut through like it does in the movies, but maybe we're a couple years away from that one. There's honestly a lot of physics to defy in this 8-inch aluminum can, but it does actually work as a lightsaber, and it is honestly the coolest thing we have and the closest thing we have to a real lightsaber on the market today. Now, the final test to see if it's dope or nope, and to do that, what you've all been waiting for, we're gonna see if we can cut through a banana. This is not a sponsored video in the slightest, but rather a part of a massive series that I'm gonna be doing on this channel, rating creator-based products to see which one is the best product and the best business. We're gonna be ranking everything from F tier all the way up to S tier, the God tier, the top of the top, to see which creator-run business is not just the best creator, but also the God tier, top of the line, most amazing business on all of the internet. Okay, so we're gonna check and see if this is able to cut directly through this, and I have to do it with my sink because I don't want to burn down my house. But we gotta check this out to see if the product is dope or nope. Actually, I gotta move this out of the way. All right. Oh my gosh, it's burning! Actually, I don't think it is. We'll see. We'll see. It's not doing anything to the apple. Oh my gosh! Ah! All right, let's see. Round 1. Give it a little birthmark. Ah! That was round 2. Round 3 is where we go for all the marbles. Ah! We're cutting right in now. Oh my gosh! I don't know if it wants to go. It's fighting back right now. I don't know. Well, it looks like the apple won. Comment down below which creator business breakdown I should do next. And as you guys know, I appreciate every single one of you watching this. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and we are so close. 63,000 amazing people hit subscribe, which is still absolutely unfathomable to me. But I appreciate every single one of you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.